Starring, amongst others, Taron Egerton, Mark Strong, Julianne Moore, Jeff Bridges, Pedro Pascal, Channing Tatum, Halle Berry, Elton John, and Colin Firth. Directed by Matthew Vaughn off of the screenplay Hero alongside Jane Goldman. This is my review for Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Oh my God. Harry?
The first Kingsman movie was a massive surprise to me. I had no idea what it was about. Somehow all the trailers had passed me by. Normally I'm pretty up on trailers, but for some reason this film just didn't catch my attention. So I just assumed that it was another Colin Firth period drama. I heard Colin Firth was in it, I heard the word King was in it, and I just associated it with the King's Speech. It's not that kind of movie at all. It's a fun, fast-paced, energetic, frantic, hilarious movie, and I think the original Kingsman is easily in my top 3 movies of 2015. But when the second one was announced, I was excited, yeah, but I was also a bit cautious. I wasn't sure if it could live up to the first one, and as it turns out, it can't. That's not to say The Golden Circle is a bad movie, because it's not. It's fun. I had a lot of fun with this movie, and I would say that it's good, but compared to the first, it's a notable several steps down in quality. So the story of this one, then, is that Julianne Moore's villain Poppy is a massive drug kingpin. She's got various drugs all out across the world, and she's laced these drugs with a virus that will first cause you to see it have blue veins sort of appear across your body. After that, you'll experience dancing, so you just dance uncontrollably for no reason whatsoever, which does lead to some really funny visuals. Then comes paralysis, then comes death. And her plan is to hold the world hostage, and also to wipe out the Kingsman, which she more or less does. She destroys all of their bases, and before long it's left for Eggsy and Merlin to try and save the day. In order to save the day, they need to go across to Kentucky, America, and meet the Statesmen, the American versions of the Kingsmen. They all have alcoholic nicknames, they have electronic lassos, and they're a ton of fun. But the problems with the Golden Circle then, and let's get them out of the way first, because as I say, there is a lot of good to talk about here. The main issue for me was the first half of the movie, maybe even a little bit longer. There's a great opening sequence to this. Like within, I think, the first 2 minutes of the movie, you're straight into an awesome, fun chase sequence through London. It's the one you've seen in the trailer where Eggsy spins over the car while it's moving. It's that, and it's great. It looks awesome, and instantly you're like, right, okay, this is going to be a great movie. And then nothing happens for a while. Yeah, you get the blowing up of the Kingsman, the bits we saw in the trailer, but we saw that in the trailer. There's nothing else in the first half of the movie, apart from the odd thing here and there, that really had me invested in what was going on. It was largely dull. It seemed for that time that the life of the movie had gone. It had no energy. It just sort of coasted along from scene to scene. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of sort of character development moments, I want to say, but nobody's really developed too much in this time. And a large part of the problem, I think, is Colin Firth's character, Harry. Now, we know that he was killed off in the first film, and they provide a reasonable enough explanation as to why he's back. But there's so much time spent on Harry in the situation that he's in, and it's not particularly exciting, and it goes on far too long. When Colin Firth's back in the game properly, it's great, but it just takes so long to get there, and it feels like it drags everything else down around it. And worse still, it doesn't feel like it belongs in this movie. Everybody else is off doing something else, and then they come back to the Harry character, and everything just feels like it grinds to a halt. Thankfully, the movie does get better as it goes along. Once it passes that halfway mark, it got a bit better. I was enjoying it a lot more, and then the final act is brilliant. The final act is everything I want from a Kingsman movie. It's what I wish the whole film would have been. It's back to how the first one was. It's in your face. It's so fast-paced. The violence is amazing in it. Everything is just awesome, and it feels like Kingsman firing all cylinders again. It just took so long for them to get to that point. The performances are great. Again, Taron Egerton owns the role of Eggsy. Like, he's brilliant. He's great as his normal sort of chav-dressed self. He's awesome when he's in full Kingsman mode. Like, he's great. Mark Strong is also awesome as Merlin. Like, he has some of the funniest moments of the movie. Like, he has some great one-liners, and his chemistry with Taron Egerton, with Eggsy, is so much fun to watch. Colin Firth is dependable as ever. The likes of Channing Tatum and Halle Berry don't really get as much to do as you may think they do. And the same, to be honest, goes with Jeff Bridges as well, who gets even less than they do. Pedro Pascal is really the main focus of the Statesman. Like, he's the one with the most story and the most screen time, and he's great in the role. There are two people, though, for me that stand out, and one of them comes as quite a big surprise. The first is Julianne Moore, who seems to be loving her role as Poppy. Like, it seems that she's embracing the villainous character and just going full-on moustache twirling with it, and it absolutely works in the context of this film. The other one is Elton John. Like, I saw him in the trailers, so I knew he was going to be in it. I thought it was just going to be a cameo, and to be fair, it is just kind of an extended cameo. But he got the biggest laughs. Like, not just from me, but from everybody in the cinema at the time. I always worry when you have cameos like this, because they can feel gratuitous, they can feel like they don't belong in the movie, or they take you out of it. But with Elton John in this one, like, the movie would have been a much more boring and dull piece without him in it. Like, he's absolutely brilliant in this. But it's just a shame that the Golden Circle can't match the quality of the first one. I think the movie would have benefited from being trimmed down quite considerably. Like, it runs at 141 minutes, and it really doesn't need to. Part of where I said that the first half of the movie was slow and a bit dull and not all that exciting, so much of that could have been trimmed down. Like, we could have got to the good stuff a lot quicker, and it would have left a much better taste in my mouth at the end of it. I'm going to give Kingsman: The Golden Circle a 7 out of 10. It's not a bad movie, it's not, and I didn't like being negative about it, but for the first, that first half, I thought this was going to be a 6 at most. I was starting to think that I was only enjoying it because it was so good to see these characters again. And that could well have been the case. It's just so thankful that when the movie finally gets going, it gets going in absolute style. Like, it becomes the Kingsman movie I was always hoping it was going to be. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Hit like, hit subscribe if you liked this video and you fancy subscribing. And you can follow me on Twitter at JoePJulians, and follow the channel on Twitter as well at NAC_channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.